Will we be the generation that gives up on the American ideal of free speech for all? This is the question we have to consider in the United States, as social media giants, campus speech codes, and cancel culture threaten to silence speech in the name of tolerance, diversity, and inclusion. As we ponder this question, we should remember that the First Amendment did not create a right to free speech out of thin air. Rather, it took the ideals of the Declaration of Independence, that all men are created equal and endowed by our Creator with inalienable rights, and cemented free speech as one of the God-given individual liberties that our government would secure. And since the time of our founding, every generation of Americans has recognized that a vibrant and prosperous nation must embrace free speech. It's essential for democracy, the pursuit of truth, and as a check on the power of government. But while we continue to enjoy strong legal protections for free speech, our cultural institutions, our universities, and our corporations are rejecting free speech and even punishing people for expressing their ideas. We face the very real risk of our societal norm of robust debate and dialogue being replaced with shaming, shunning, and silence. Free speech can still die despite its protection in law. We're edging closer to this free speech crisis than you may think. Take, for example, the high-profile exodus of progressive writers from some of the nation's most well-known publications. Along with fellow liberals Glenn Greenwald of The Intercept and Matt Yglesias of Vox, who both felt they had no other choice but to abandon the very outlets they founded, Barry Weiss and Andrew Sullivan found the clearly marked exits at the New York Times and New York Magazine after enduring bullying and harassment for their insufficient wokeness. In a self-published open resignation letter, Weiss captured the problem of cancel culture run rampant at the New York Times. My own forays into wrongthink have made me the subject of constant bullying by colleagues who disagree with my views. They've called me a Nazi and a racist. The implicit message to young journalists at what was once known as the nation's paper of record, Weiss wrote, is, speak your mind at your own peril. Of course, it's no better on social media platforms like YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook. Not a day goes by without another instance of censorship, all because a message doesn't match the delicate sensibilities of big tech employees. Silicon Valley now assumes the power to block and censor not just conservatives who commit the speech crime of saying that men aren't women, but also venerable newspapers like the New York Post, which was founded by Alexander Hamilton. In the United States today, you risk being banned from social media, fired by your employer, and bullied and intimidated into silence, all for speaking your mind. Is that the type of country we want to live in? These concerns inspired the Philadelphia Statement, which calls upon all Americans to preserve the freedom to disagree openly while committing to a shared future alongside those with whom we differ. Signed by a politically diverse group of leading scholars, legal experts, and religious leaders, and bearing the signatures of tens of thousands of everyday Americans and counting, the Philadelphia Statement asks a critical question. Is this the country we want? Surely not. We want, and to be true to ourselves, we need to be a nation in which we and our fellow citizens of many different faiths, philosophies, and persuasions can speak their minds and honor their deepest convictions without fear of punishment and retaliation. The Philadelphia Statement's message is critical because of how rapidly universities, corporations, and cancel culture are destroying the very foundation of free speech. What can we do when the outrage mob comes for us, our neighbors, friends, colleagues, or even ideological opponents? 3 things. Stand, speak, and sign. Stand against everyone or a mob that pressures you to publicly say something you don't believe. Cancel culture feeds off of people bending the knee. Don't do it. Speak out in defense of people who are being censored and those who have the courage to stand their ground. Even if you disagree with what they say, defend their right to say it. Finally, sign and share the Philadelphia Statement, a growing and diverse movement committed to the timeless principles of free speech. Now is the time to fight back against cancel culture. If we stand together, we'll be remembered as the generation that preserved free speech rather than the one that lost it. And it all starts with you.